Here we are for our next entry in our visual journal. Today we are going to be using black paper rather than white paper that you will be gluing into your journal. The goal of this is to help us add contrast into our work. When we talk about contrast in art, there are several types: value, different values, light, dark, color, shape, or texture. You want to consider these as you make your next entry into your journal. We're going to be using glue sticks today to tape these down so that we don't have any bubbles. So please do not use liquid glue, please use glue sticks. I've traced a nice perimeter on my black paper, and I'm going to open it to my next page in my journal and place it down. Make sure that you get it tucked all the way into the corners so that it doesn't stick out, and give it a nice good flat smoothing to get it staying flat and down. Okay, so now what I'm going to do today, in order to help achieve more contrast in this blackout entry, we are going to be using materials that would then create white or light values on our dark paper. So I have a chalk stick, I have a white charcoal pencil, okay? You could also use things like a white paint marker if you have that available. You could even use white paint to help add some value and contrast into this paper, okay? So when I'm thinking of this, I'm thinking of what would be an interesting image that I could create on this very black surface paper, okay? If you want to start in pencil, you could certainly do that. Just to kind of give yourself your basic shapes. My first thing I like to think of is like a candle. Maybe kind of in the hallway, or maybe somebody's holding a candle. So starting with my basic form of a cylinder. Maybe it has a fancy little handle on it. Just sketching my basic shapes for now. Okay. Maybe this candle is on a table. Maybe we have this sort of hallway in the distance, okay? So you can create anything you want. Obviously, I'm just trying to consider how I can create contrast on this already dark paper, and I'm thinking of maybe a place where there would be a, dark lit room, and maybe that light source that would be within the room. So whatever you first go to, okay? Then I'm going to go in with my charcoal pencil, and of course I also have my chalk, and I'm just going to start lightly sketching the places that I want to be brightest. So it's actually sort of the opposite of what we're used to. Instead of leaving that white paper to show through, to get my high contrast and my highlights, I need to color those areas in. So it's a nice little bit of a shift from what we are used to doing, and a good exercise and a good practice in another technique you could use on your own drawing projects if you really want some dramatic lit scene. Okay, so I'm just kind of outlining some of my basic shapes that I created there. Just kind of thinking there's like maybe some door at the end of a hallway in this room. A little bit of some quick perspective in there, drawing diagonal lines from all four corners of my rectangular shape is just enough to create a little bit of a ceiling floor type of a illusion. Okay, if you want something that's going to be very much brighter, maybe you want to go in there with the chalk. So I'm kind of creating some sort of a shape in this window. Okay, so right there we've created a very, high contrast shape. We use the blending stump to help push it around a little bit more. Maybe even add some subtle shadows in there. It's kind of giving this like witch hat sort of a vibe, which kind of makes sense when you're working with sort of a dark value scale anyways, that you're going to want to go to that. Okay. So now I'm just going to work on slowly and subtly adding the values, and because I'm working with white on top of black, I'm really trying to pay attention to not putting down the chalk too bright. I really want to use it only in very small places where I really want those highlights. Because again, the goal of contrast here is I want intense darks against intense lights, and that helps to create a drama, helps to create contrast. Okay, so I just put a little bit of a glow around that candlestick, and I'm just using my blending stump to sort of smudge it now. Okay, and I'm going to continue to add some more details to this flame that is on there. Okay, maybe there's a little bit of a highlight on the bottom part of this candlestick. Maybe we have some reflections of the light on the table, so just trying to create some little horizontal marks to suggest the light is casting there. Maybe we have some drops of the wax that are catching that light. Okay. So again, just be patient and kind of work with the materials as you can. I mean, they're certainly something maybe you haven't used before or haven't used in the situation where you have the black paper to start with, but you can see it's going to really lend itself to giving us that dramatic kind of atmosphere. And again, a good thing that you could use in an upcoming project if you find it interesting. So as I'm creating value here on the bottom of like this little stand that my candlestick is on, I'm thinking about, okay, yep, it could be really white here, but then how do I find that kind of grayish color? So that's sort of something that is a little bit trickier, but sort of a fun challenge with these materials. Okay, I'm going to maybe add a few more details up here. Maybe, you know, some things that are on the wall. Maybe we have some rays coming out from this doorway into this dark lit room. Maybe there's other objects on the table. So, all right, good luck.